I guess, the highlight of Obama's administration as far as he's concerned. But there's a lot of problems with Obamacare, and some of that may come to fruition this year, and we'll see. And of course, notification, that's why I wanted Bert to give his presentation today too, because that applies to this a great deal also. I've done quite a bit of research on this, and it is indeed a quagmire of new unconstitutional agencies. There's 159 new boards and commissions that will be created in the Obamacare bill. It's the largest growth of government in our history. It's over 2,500 pages in large print, and the estimated cost over $2 trillion. Part of the problem for this bill, among many, as Charles enlightened us on a few weeks ago, is that this bill is still open-ended. It's still being written. So no one really knows how much the cost of this is going to be. And so it's going to be something to see what happens this year with Obamacare. This is all the agencies and organizations that are under the Secretary of Health and Human Services when it comes to Obamacare. As you can see, there's a tremendous amount of agencies, and all those people have to be paid. So, you know, where's all this money going to come from to pay all these different agencies just so you can go to the doctor? It's as you can see, the bureaucracy is unbelievable. I'm going to go over some key points that are in Obamacare. This isn't everything. These are some key points I want to hit on. I had some things in here I had to take out because I couldn't verify them. And what I discovered was there's a lot of sites on the internet that has some summaries of what's in Obamacare. And some of these guys spend a lot of time looking very official when it's false information, because what I did was went back there and actually read the bill and had to take some of those things out because I couldn't verify them. But this will give you an idea of what's in the bill, and then we'll let you know where things stand now. On page 22 is that the government will audit books of all employers who are self-insured. So your books are going to be open to the federal government whether you like it or not. Page 29, lines 4 through 16, we're going to have health care rationing, folks. That's the main purpose of Obamacare, is to ration health care. And you can only receive so much health care per year. Page 30, Section 123, there will be a government committee that decides what treatment and benefits you receive. It's not going to be between you and your doctor, or even between you and your insurance company. There will be a board who will determine what treatment you're going to get. Page 42, Health Care Commissioner will choose your health care benefits for you. You don't have a choice. That decision will be made for you. Page 50, Section 152, health care will be provided to all individuals, including citizens of the United States and those in the U.S. illegally or otherwise. So if your feet are on the ground in the United States, you will get health care to some degree. Page 58, government will have real-time access to individual finances, and a national ID health card will be issued. Page 59, lines 21 through 24. The government will have direct access to your bank account for elective funds transfer. So if you got some money in the bank and you have a severe health problem and you go beyond your limit, they can tap your finances to pay for it. Section 1553 allows for abortion, euthanasia, assisted suicide, and withholding of sustenance. Also, there's a program for wellness and prevention, which will include home visits and questionnaires from the government concerning their habits, belief systems, and lifestyle. So you're talking about the government's going to be invading your very privacy in the new health care. Page 72, lines 8 through 14, the government is creating health care exchanges, and we'll be talking a lot about that in just a few minutes, to bring private health care plans under government control. Of course, the purpose of the health care exchange is to have control over exactly the benefits that you're going to be receiving and what you can or cannot buy. It creates the illusion that it's a marketplace for competition, but the government controls all of it. Page 84, Section 203, government mandates all benefit packages for private health care plans in the exchange. So, like I said, the government has complete control of it. Page 91, lines 4 through 7, government mandates linguistic appropriate services. So if we have some illegal aliens here, they'll have to provide translation for them. This is the one that got me. Page 170, lines 1 through 3, any non-resident alien is exempt from individual taxes. So you and I will be taking care of their health care. We'll be paying for that. Page 95, lines 8 through 18, the government will use groups like ACORN and AmeriCorps to sign up individuals for government health care. This is just a way to fund money to these these left-wing organizations. Page 102, lines 12 through 18, Medicaid eligible individuals will automatically be enrolled in Medicaid. Whether you want to or not, you'll be enrolled. You do not have a choice. Page 124, lines 24 through 25, no company can sue the government on price fixing. No judicial review against government monopoly, because that's what it is. It is a government monopoly on health care. Page 127, lines 1 through 16, Dr. Shaw, you'll appreciate this one. Doctors in the medical profession, the government will tell you how much money you can make.
I know, that's why I quit.
Yeah, and Burke's out of that mess too. I guess that's he's probably glad too. You guys used to make too much money. Now you can't make enough.
Yeah, family doctors got filthy damn rich.
Page 126, lines 22 through 25, concerning employers. Employers must pay family health care costs for all employees working over 28 hours per week. So part-time is not 35 hours anymore, it's 28 hours. So guess what all these restaurants are going to do? Everybody's going to be working 28 hours. Page 145, lines 15 through 17, all employers must auto-enroll employees into government health care. You don't have a choice. You have to be auto-enrolled. Page 149, lines 16 through 24, any employer with a payroll at $400,000 and above who does not provide government option will pay an 8% tax on all payroll.
I know. Keep in line. Oh, I know. We're making big bucks.
Page 150, lines 9 through 13, any employer with a payroll between $251,000 and $400,000 who does not provide the government option on health insurance will pay a 2 to 6% tax on payroll based on those amounts. Page 167, any individual who does not have acceptable health care according to the federal government will be taxed at 2.5%. Page 195, officers and employees of healthcare administration, government, will have access to all Americans' financial and personal records.
Hey, Dean, can you go back one slide?
Yeah. Oh, did I skip that one? I'm
No,
sorry.
no, I just want to go back one more.
Is that it?
Yeah. That's employer with a payroll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not the employer's sales, it's the payroll?
Their payroll.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's their payroll. So we went over that one. Yeah, I missed this one. I had to put this one in here because this one tickled me. Page 203, lines 14 through 15, the tax imposed under this section shall not be treated as tax. I just had to put that in here because that was pretty funny. Again, on physicians, page 239, lines 14 through 24, government will reduce physician services for Medicaid. And of course, that's going to affect seniors, poor, and low income. That'll work you to death, wouldn't it, Paul? They've done that to you.
Yeah, we're the only ones in this area that actually took Medicaid. And no other 30 physicians around here would take it, and we took it. And of course, we got, a decreased payment, but I felt as a family physician, that was my responsibility. And I'm going to penalize you for doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Page 241, lines 6 through 8, all doctors, no matter what specialty, will be paid the same. That one just seems insane to me.
Oh.
But that's in there. Well, why would you go to have a specialty and spend that extra time in school and run up that debt not to make any more money? That doesn't make any sense. Page 253, lines 10 through 18, government will set the value of the doctor's time and professional judgment. Page 265, section 1131, government mandates controls of productivity for healthcare industry, so they're going to have complete control over the industry and set the standards. Page 268, section 1145, federal government regulates rental and purchases of power-driven wheelchairs and similar services. So you'll have to go ask the government if you want a wheelchair or those devices. Page 272, section 1145, treatment of certain cancer hospitals. Cancer patients care will be rationed. And that's going to be based on your age, your general overall health, whether you actually get some cancer treatment or not. And, they may just give you the drugs to make you comfortable. Page 280, section 11. Page 280, section 1151, government will penalize hospitals for what the government deems preventable readmission.
Is that the 30 days in?
They get you out of the hospital they're not gonna let you back in.
Well, you know,
For 30 days.
They set the date. If you got pneumonia, you got like 5 days to get out of the hospital. And if you don't if you're not improved because you're 72, 73 years old, they kick you out of the hospital and they say, well, sorry, we won't let you back in.
That's exactly what's
You're gonna die.
Yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
And that son of a bitch down in Florida standing up there and saying the Republicans want you to die now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the ones throwing mom off the cliff, aren't they?
Yeah.
Page, and this is another one that got me, page 317, lines 13 through 20, prohibition on ownership and investment. The government will tell the doctors what and how much they can own in a hospital or in a private practice.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know anything.
Page 317 through 18, and lines 21 through 25, and lines 1 through 3 respectively, prohibition on expansion. Government mandates if hospitals can expand or not. So if hospital decides to expand, they just can't expand because they want to. They're going to have permission from the federal government, or they can have the opportunity to apply for exception, but the community input is required. They just can't make that decision on their own. That's page 321, lines 2 through 13. And page 335, lines 16 through 25, pages 336 through 339, government mandates establishment of outcome-based measures, health care the way they want it. It's going to, the rationing folks, that's really what all this health care is about. It's about rationing health care. Page 341, lines 3 through 9, government has authority to disqualify medical plans, HMOs, etc., forces all into the government health care plan. Page 354, section 1177, government will restrict enrollment of special need individuals. And I don't know what the full implications of that are. I guess we can use our imaginations on that one. But when they're going to put a limit on the enrollment of special needs, I mean, it's the same thing. They're just not going to take care of it. They're just not going to take care of it. That's right. That's right. That's what will happen.
I had a friend.
Or it'd be tied up. Well, if you look at these other nations that have it, and they have these committees, a lot of times it's tied up to what they tell you is it's tied up in committee. A decision has to be made. But by the time the committee makes a decision, you just pass it away.
A friend of mine, he couldn't believe about 8 years ago, he's over visiting with me. We had a one home that had like 85, and we went to the doctor. He could not believe it. We just went in the office.
Yeah. But it gets worse as we go on, folks. Page 425, lines 4 through 12. Seniors will interview annually for health issues, and decisions will be made as to what care they can or cannot receive. Government mandates advanced care planning consultations. Government will...
Well, if they're not rational, we'll make those decisions.
Don't worry, the government will make that decision for you. Government will instruct and consult regarding living wills and durable power of attorneys. This is mandatory. Page 425, lines 22 through 25, and 426, lines 1 through 3. Government provides approved list of end-of-life resources, guiding you into death. Lines 427, lines 15 through 24. Government mandates program for end-of-life. The government decides how your life will end. Page 429, lines 1 through 9, an advanced care planning consultation will be used frequently as patients' health deteriorates. And lines 10 through 25, advanced care consultations may include an order for end-of-life plans. The government will specify which doctors can write an end-of-life order.
You realize what that says?
Mm-hmm.
It says advanced care planning becomes present care planning.
Yeah.
It's no longer advanced. It's while you're deteriorating,
planning
they
your death.
change.
Yeah, they're planning your death. The whole thing comes down to is whether they're going to give you the drugs or they're going to try to save your life. And they're going to look at your age and your contribution and make a decision based on what's in the best interest of the collective. So anyhow, that gives an idea of some of the things that are in Obamacare. But the things that we want to look at is where do things stand now? This is a great concern. I have a 79-year-old mother. I believe this is a concern to her and me also, and Kathy. And where do we go from here? And what are our options on Obamacare? Well, let's look at what the government tells us our options are. First of all, let's talk about what a health insurance exchange is for those of y'all who may not know. Exchanges are new organizations that will be set up for the purchase of health insurance. Beginning in 2014, exchanges will serve primarily individuals and small businesses with up to 100 employees. States may choose to include larger employees in the future. States are expected to set up the exchanges. However, the federal government may step in if the state refuses not to set them up. It's a marketplace for health insurance, which are all government-approved plans. in order to purchase them in the exchanges. We're fortunate as of right now because our governor has said no, that Georgia's not going to set up the exchanges. Governor Nathan Deal decided that Georgia will not set up its own health insurance exchange. In his letter to the Obama administration on November 16, 2012, our governor said, "I remain concerned with the one-size-fits-all approach and the high financial burden imposed on the states by this federal mandate." So our governor deserves credit for not setting up the exchanges at this point. But it's not over with yet. But the good news is all the states you see here in green are all the states that have refused to set up the exchanges. So there's about 30 states there. The red states are and this is as of January 4th. The red states are the ones who have set up the state exchanges. The blue is the states that are partnering with the federal government to set up those exchanges. So like I said, there's about, of course, it looks like the electoral map pretty much, doesn't it? So the green states are the states that have declared as of now that they are not going to set up the health care exchanges. But here are the options according to the federal government. States that have refused to set up health insurance exchanges now have two options left according to the federal government. One, states can partner with the federal government to set up those exchanges, or two, they can leave the entire task to the Obama administration. States have until February 15th of this year to notify the federal government.
Isn't there a difference in how much money the federal government's going to put in with the exchanges? If the state sets it up, then the state has to pay. Well, if the federal government does, the federal government does.
Right. But in either case, the reason why a lot of states have refused to set up the exchanges is the federal government still controls it all. I mean, the argument is if the state sets it up, then they can have control of it, but they don't. The federal government runs it all. And that's why a lot of states say, well, we're not going to do it if we don't have any control of it. Of course, the question is there any other options? Is that the only options that the states have? It's either to partner with the federal government to set up the exchanges or to let the feds come in and set up their own. Well, unfortunately, that's not our own. According to the federal government, that's what the options are, but the reality is that are not the only options. First of all, we need to look at Judge Roberts' ruling that most people are not familiar with. Michael Oppitz, who was our guest up here in November, if you weren't here to see him, it was good. He did a paper on Obamacare ruling more than meets the eye, where he did all the research, and I pulled out a few of the quotes inside the ruling by Judge Roberts, and I want to share those with you because they're very profound. So listen carefully, and this is directly concerns Obamacare, but it probably could be applied to other issues concerning notification. Our cases have recognized limits on Congress's power under the spending clause to secure state compliance with federal objectives. We have repeatedly characterized spending clause legislation as much in the nature of a contract, which is what he alluded to earlier. Legitimacy of Congress' exercise of the spending power thus rests on whether the state voluntarily and knowingly accepts the terms of the contract. Respecting this limitation is critical to ensuring that spending clause legislation does not undermine the status of the states as independent sovereigns in our federal system. That system rests on what might at first seem a counterintuitive insight that freedom is enhanced by the creation of two governments, not one, the state government and the federal government. For this reason, the Constitution has never been understood to confer upon Congress the ability to require the states to govern according to Congress's instructions. Our U.S. Congress cannot mandate down to the states how they're going to run their states or what legislation they have to follow. They can't do that.
States created Congress.
That's right. Yes, sir.
What's the spending clause? Do you know what part of the Constitution that was?
Commerce.
Commerce clause and, no, I can't remember. I'd have to look at it.
Okay.
I just did this, didn't I?
Yes.
No, it doesn't. Here we go.
No, didn't do that.
Otherwise, the two-government system established by the framers would give way to a system that vests power in one central government, and individual liberty would suffer. That insight has led this court to strike down federal legislation that commandeers a state's legislative or administrative apparatus for federal purposes. A good example of that is the Real ID law. Some states have gone along with that, some states haven't. And the federal government cannot force them to go along with the Real ID law. The same thing applies. Congress may use its spending power to create incentives for states to act in accordance with federal policies, that when pressure turns into compulsion, the legislation runs contrary to our system of federalism, the two governments.